Hello, I'm Cozy, the Femboy Chaosmancer, and I love to slay the opioid epidemic's greatest champions, just cuz. Deforest millions of acres of trees for extremely insubstantial rewards. Cook meth with stoners and Catholics joined in silent unison at the bank and pretend to be a woman online to make video game money by selling wooden buckets for considerable profits and crashing the economy bit by bit. In short, I have committed a number of felonies in my life thus far, and I don't intend on slowing down anytime soon. But I also like Old School Runescape, a game made to experience you in a world where games are created for you to experience them. A game that allows me to take advantage of the feeble derelicts beneath me and utilize them for my monetary gain as they lament onto deaf ears, but also a game that allows me to chill out on some clonazepam and fish at a waterfall. It is objectively the best video game ever created, objectively and circumstantially my favorite video game of all time, and my autistic special interest. But I haven't sold you yet, so let's get down to ass tacks and really delve into the depths of this work of art. And if you think for a moment this will be organized and proper, then let me just tell you, you've come to the wrong place. Alright, let's get it. Strictly speaking, you play as a nobody with nothing in a world called Gelanor from the hit video game RuneScape.
What?
And initially, the game acts much like My Family, in which they tell you to get a job and figure it out. Though unlike My Family, it leaves out the crippling Pepto-Bismol addiction. In RuneScape, there are a number of skills to train and level. There's a grand total of goals to chase after, but it all boils down to raising these numbers to 99 to obtain skill capes for reaching the max levels, among a few other major rewards such as combat prestige, achievements, or pets, all for bragging rights. And also because a lot of the game's stuff is gay-kept behind getting these skills and goals accomplished. But it's the means in which you perpetrate these grueling goals that make the game fun. But to understand the means, we have to understand what we're working with here on this table of unusual fuckery. I will go by each skill quickly, one at a time, and address them as I see fit to give you a better understanding of the design. Starting with rune crafting. This skill is loved by every single person in the entire community. You take a long stroll to transport rocks from point A and then run to point B and paint said rocks at special altars to turn them into runes, which can be used in magic, and get extremely small amounts of experience for doing so. You do this for hundreds of hours while unlocking new types of runes and altars, then poof, you're level 99. And it only took you 2 involuntary visits to the psych ward and 1 voluntary admission of guilt to a jury. There's also a minigame now that's pretty hella fun and a good alternative to the other training methods, and it actually made me kinda like rune crafting, I hate to admit it. On the topic of crafting, there's another skill called crafting, and you'll never believe what this one is about. You essentially craft items. Whoa. Such as ranged armor from leather, jewelry that can be later enchanted, glass items that are extremely useless, but it looks really funny to blow glass. Also, the glass blowing pipe kind of looks like a bong, and that's funny to me because psychoactive chemicals make me giggle. They also make me have panic attacks. This skill can be trained entirely by purchasing shit from people who are actually playing the game and then turning it into shit for other people who are actually playing the game to probably buy from you and then flip on the market for a profit. It's a wonderful use of time. Wanna know what isn't a wonderful use of time? Mining. You mine rocks with a pickaxe. Wow, crazy! Wow! Fishing. It's fish day. Who hung? You fish with a fishing rod for fish. Or you fish with a fishing harpoon or fishing net used for fishing up some fish for the Foggy Fish Festival. You can also catch other aquatic life forms that you deem marked for death, or just say screw it and kill a massive whirlpool monster with fish cannons for crates that give you rewards that make you want to return to the psych ward. Speaking of psych wards, fire making. You burn down trees and make extremely long lines at the bank out of fires, and no one bats an eye. And then, you bundle up and get your ass to this place, where you and 1,000 other people roleplay as having seasonal affective disorder. So you all stand in the snow, gather logs, cut them up, and throw them into a brazier lit with green fire for like 5 minutes at a time to kill a massive ice anus so you can dismantle winter itself. Then you get crates that give you funky fun rewards. I got the phoenix pet from this place. Twice, by the way. I'm just rad, and you're all cringe or something like that. But then winter respawns, and you have to go back and kill it again, and again, and again, and cooking. You put shit in the oven and watch it with a straight face as it turns into literal charcoal for like 15 hours. And then you ferment grapes, put it into water, and let it turn into wine for like 30 hours. That's it. Then you're max level. That's all you have to do. Let them cook. It's kind of like the meme. Get it, guys? Thieving. You steal shit from fruit stalls, jewelry stands, farmers, men, women, knights, patrolling officers, the disabled, etc. Role-playing as a functioning member of society, you pickpocket, break into chests, and desecrate shrines for minimal amounts of cash, seeds, food, and guilt, as well as small amounts of experience points. You also get the sacred carpal tunnel syndrome from all the stroking you're doing with your other hand, because stealing from the poor to give to yourself who is rich is the best feeling in the world. Speaking of good feelings, there's woodcutting. Now what if I told you that this skill, in this skill, you use an axe and you cut at a tree to gather logs, wood even. You cut the wood, and from cutting at the tree that's made of wood with an axe, you get the logs, and then you keep doing that. You keep cutting at the tree with the axe, the wooden tree. You keep construction. You build a chair, then rip it out of fucking existence with primal aggression, and then as a showcase of your sheer will over your destiny, you build it again, then fucking tear it apart once more. And once you've leveled up enough and learned how to make a table, you do the same thing, but this time with a table. Then you do it with an entire kitchen. You basically treat your furniture like how a histrionic person treats the elements that make up their life. Build, destroy, repeat. Except instead of farming empathy and attention, you're farming for that debt and experience points. A hella good combo, if you ask me. Smithing. You take metal ore and smith it into metal bars. Or you already smithed the metal bars into armor and weapons at the smithery with Smithy Smitherino. Just kidding, he's in prison and doesn't exist anymore. But you're most likely just to spend countless hours in a damp, dark cave somewhere with special gloves on your hands, paying someone else so that you can do extreme amounts of manual labor. Seems to be a common theme with this game. Herb lore. Oh yeah. You acquire indica sativa hybrids and turn them into THC-infused soda with magical properties. For those who are somehow not inclined to understand what I mean, you take plant and make potion out of plant, but I will not elaborate any further, for my potions are too strong for you, and you can't handle my potions. My potions can kill a dragon, let alone a man. I think you need to find a man who sells weaker potions, as my potions are for the strongest and you are clearly not of the strongest, you are clearly of the weakest. Potion seller, please, I'm begging you. Fletching. You buy RuneScape bonds, sell them for gold, then use the gold to buy dart tips and feathers to make darts and or arrows for like 2 hours until you have level 99. If you own a pen and tablet, then using said hardware can make this go even faster. This is, with all intents and purposes, the most shit skill in the game, in my opinion. It's fucking gay. Agility.
Okay, we all go together or we go one at a time.
Yeah! Parkour! Parkour!
Parkour! Parkour!
I'm right behind you, Andy! Come on!
Yeah!
You do illegal parkour on rooftops, but next to that, it's literally just exercise. Yes, you heard me right. You pretend to exercise for hundreds of hours. The higher your agility level, the less your stamina bar depletes as you sprint. You can also grab coins from the rooftop, which you turn into a person to get a set of armor that is extremely ugly, that makes you run even longer. It's called the Graceful set, but it is the most disgraceful set I've ever seen. It makes me yearn for the ability to just vomit on command. Hunter. If you like betting money in dogfights, then this skill may be up your alley, though sadly there is not much animal combat or betting, there is animal captivity, and I suppose it all falls underneath the same umbrella now, doesn't it? You enslave creatures for many reasons, to get charged as a domestic terrorist as you throw them at enemies and make them explode, to squish them in your hands to get a random reward, to catch in nets and then let them go. For now. So on and so forth, but it all boils down to Pokemon minus the battling. There are creatures out there enjoying the fresh air and the freedom of a careless life, and your goal is to roleplay as George Washington. Farming! This may blow your cock out of your pantaloons, so buckle down. Essentially, you insert your seed into the ground, then you wait, and then you click the dirt a lot, and then the seeds grow into plants, and you harvest the plants, and then you do it again, and that's farming. Thanks for watching, guys. prayer. You cosplay as Jeffrey Dahmer and collect fiddlesticks to bury them into the ground, or to bring them to some random person's house so you can put them on an altar. In return, you earn prayer points with each level, which is like a mana bar for prayers that you can cast on yourself, which are buffs for combat that also unlock with each level. Magic.
I'm not a fucking wizard!
But I can be, if I wanted to. This skill revolves around using runes that transmute items into gold, enchant jewelry, bolts, so on and so forth. Or using runes to cast fun utility spells, like telekinetic grab, or to cast fiery spells of doom to kill things. Slayer. You know every quest in World of Warcraft? Ever? Where some person tells you that a few hundred of a certain specific species just needs to die today, and you blindly go along and take them all out in vicious combat? It's that. Because there's actually quests that have like stories and stuff and lore in this game, so that is its whole other thing. But it can't be an MMORPG without some dude telling you to go kill some shit stains for no reason, so that's what the Slayer task is for. These species range from just guys being dudes, animals literally just vibing, to massive bosses and monsters. Like, what the fuck is a Bloodveld? What is the anatomy of this shit? I'm glad we're killing them, but seagulls? Really? Well, whatever, XP is XP, and you're gonna want it in combat. Oh yeah, let's talk about combat now. There is a lot of ways to kill things, both in-game and in real life, but it all boils down to these three: melee, ranged, and magic. Each is better at one thing and shit at another, and each fits on this pyramid scheme thing that shows what is strong and weak against what. You got your total level, and then there's your combat level, which is its own thing entirely, as it is a number that is generated from some equation I don't give a flying fuck about that takes into account your attack skill, health point skill, strength skill, defense skill, but also your range skill, magic skill, and prayer skill. Magic, ranged, and prayer offer very little to the total combat level, but still apply to it. Leveling up the attack skill is like role-playing the narcissistic husband who has had one too many, as it makes you, the player, hit more often. Leveling up your strength skill is like role-playing the narcissistic husband when they find the hammer, as it makes the player hit harder. And leveling up your defense skill is like role-playing as the narcissistic husband when you're brought to court, as it makes you get hit less and get away with everything. Then there's hit points, which the more you level it, the more hit points you get more hit point. It's health. You level up your health. And leveling ranged gives you options for ranged gear and weapons to truly make you live the American dream. Utilizing different combat styles, you can take this extremely simple formula of stand and hit, and eventually get to a point where you have to stand and hit, but put on the right stuff at the right time, and stand in the right spot at the right time, and do the right thing at the right time, and basically, RuneScape's combat turns into a rhythm game based off of 100 ticks per minute, and as you get deeper into the game's harder combat stuff like bosses and raids, the mastery you need over the rhythm game becomes more and more intense, but it's always rewarding, and you can always showcase your rewards, whether it be skill capes, special armor, or accessories that dropped from bosses or raids, super rare pets, or even random rare items that you can flex in front of everyone and be like, yeah, I did that. Bitch. Logging into Old School Runescape, you'll see someone with that ugly-ass pizza cape, wearing that ugly gray armor with that red poker thingy and that fucking, what is that, a snake? And a fiery bird following them around, and you'll be all like, yeah, I want to be like that, I want to be like that guy. Then, like 1,000 hours later, you can be like, wow, I am now that guy, I am that guy now. That's awesome. And then, some random dork sees you, and is like, wow, I want to be like that guy one day. And then the cycle continues, and that is something special. And that extends to skilling too, and isn't just restricted within combat-based things. Like if you see a dude with a level 99 thieving cape, which means they maxed out the skill, and it looks tight as hell, you're like, damn man, I want to be that guy. So then, you look up onto google.com how to get 99 thieving to get that cape, and then you kinda just sit there. And then you Google the cooking cape, and then you're like, damn man, I want to be like that guy. And then you spend a couple hours grinding away to get a cape so you can show that baby off and wear it with pride. Also, pets drop rarely from pretty much each skill, so go get that 99 cape, and also hopefully get that pet to show off, like I did twice from Wintertot during fire making. Did I mention that already? Look, I got the Phoenix twice. What the fuck? The freedom of progression of the game and how it's showcased through cosmetic rewards is super rad and almost as addictive as the Halloween candy I sprayed with nicotine. They are always coming back for more. It's crazy how that works. But that is neither here nor there. You know, there's an old saying in the homeless community: you never quit You just have withdrawal symptoms, which ultimately lead to relapse, maybe kidney failure. And I think that can be applied to RuneScape as well. Now, apologies if I got some of that information wrong or paraphrased a little bit. I haven't beaten enough women over other people breaking garden gnomes to be classified as a RuneScape wiki copy-pasting tutorial creator, so my methods may not be conventional, but I assure you, I know what is up and what is down, at least half the time. Anyways, you know what they say? A stopped clock is right 3 times a day on Daylight Savings Day. But you want to know what isn't right? The mental state of everyone who plays this godforsaken video game. As the game is essentially, and I mean this with all sincerity and love that I can muster, a low-poly autistic repetition simulator. And it just doesn't seem to be enough of a handicap for some people. The game is already grinding enough, but some people decide to play as an Iron Man. And if you thought of Peter Parker from the DC comic movies, then you're a fucking idiot dropout. An Iron Man is a player who cannot trade, sell, or purchase items from other players, and have to gather and make everything that they own. But that wasn't enough for some people. So, some play as a hardcore Iron Man. This means that you're an Iron Man, but with a stunning icon. Like, look at that, isn't that just breathtaking? However, if you die, you lose your status as a hardcore Iron Man, and you lose your breathtaking image. Warning, sex havers have been using this image to identify one another. If you lose it, that means you regain your virginity. But that challenge still wasn't enough for some people. So some people play as an ultimate Iron Man, where you cannot trade, sell, or buy items from other players, and you can't use a fucking bank. So you're limited to your 28 slot inventory and nothing else, and have to make do with what you can. But that still wasn't enough for some players. Settled. So they decide to sanction off the shittiest part of the world and say, yeah, let me just play the entire game but restrict it to this one zone and I can never leave. And then when they beat that, they go, yeah, let me just play the entire game, but I have to unlock every tile that I step on. And then when they eventually start beating that, they're like, yeah, let me just play the game, but with one fucking inventory slot. All of these as Ultimate Iron Man, by the way. What I'm trying to point out is that there are so many creative alternatives to Chinese water torture that people come up with, and the fact that people just keep coming up with new ways to make the game harder and longer is mind-boggling to me. Like, the game is so simple on paper. You click things to get small amounts of dopamine, but the game doesn't restrict how you do any of this, and so people are always constantly pushing the game and its world to the limit to see just how challenging and grindy they can make it for the ultimate bragging rights, but mostly for that dopamine. Usually, people just get addicted to meth for that sort of thing, so I'm really happy that RuneScape exists as an alternative. So yeah, we get it now. The goal of the game is to grind so hard you can flex on people with proof of accomplishments, and a lot of people who get those accomplishments get them in a lot of different ways. But what about the world, the aesthetic, the community? I know what there is to do, but where will I be doing it, and with whomst will I partake in this world with? Well, how about you shut the fuck up, stop asking questions, and I can get into that. Now, the world of RuneScape is really unique, in that most of the game, you'll be spending time here. Welcome to the Grand Exchange. This is a massive fucking bank in the middle of the game's society, where everyone puts their items up for sale to eternally screw with the incredibly complex economy. And then they stand in place and buy materials from people who actually play the game to train their skills, with Love Live Sunshine on their other monitor, or a compilation of bad salvia trips, playing for their leisure as they never need to leave. But believe me, against what a lot of people may say, there's more to the world than just the Grand Exchange. I think. From iconic Innocent Lumbridge to the stressful infamous Fight Caves, up north to Wintertot and the Great Korend, and across the world to the Swamp Man's home of Mauritania. Each location in RuneScape is diverse and tightly knit with a huge amount of shit to do, gatekept behind all sorts of levels, gear, and quests. For example, the Swamp Place, Mauritania, you gotta do a quest called Priest in Peril to even be able to access this part of the world. Then, when you do, you have all sorts of shit thrown at you, like mid-level agility courses, temple trekking, the iconic Barrows boss fights, hunter training spots, and the unforgettable high-level raid, Theater of Blood. Though the list goes on, and all of these have certain requirements that have little to no restriction in how you obtain those requirements, and yet the activities in and of themselves in Mauritania all fall underneath a unique aesthetic, a dark, gloomy, melancholic vibe. And that, right there, is the best part of the world and its design, in my opinion. The aesthetic of each part of it. If the first thing that comes to your mind when you see RuneScape is graphics, odds are you have never had sex, which is a good thing, because natural selection exists. But if one of the things that comes to your mind when you see RuneScape is aesthetic, then you're like, kind of normal, or above the age of 17. Each zone and activity and music track bolsters such a unique and exemplary beauty. Tear away the nostalgia that many, such as myself, have for this game, and you have the absolutely most charming display in every part of the world. Every musical track, every location, every mob, every NPC, every quest, every city and item and weapon and skill, they all have their own unique aesthetics and vibes that no other video game can even come close to touching. And the reason for that? Well, call me crazy. But aside from the fact that it's designed good, it also is really simple and leaves the blanks open to the player's imagination, but just enough so that your mind doesn't completely dominate it like my fiance on a Friday when she gets her hands on me. It allows the player to feel immersed in their own adventure, not only due to the restriction on how you play, but also on how it's presented. How the world isn't so much a blank canvas, but a coloring book for the mind. I'm on drugs right now if you couldn't tell. Coupled with the classic music and outstanding non-linear progression, and you have the perfect sandbox world to get lost in, either alone or with friends. Cause that's right, baby, this game is multiplayer. What? And it's online. No way. And there's hundreds of millions of real players. Wow, that's crazy. Those aren't bots and alt at all. Wow. I have a distinct memory of coming across a duo named Demon Boot and Demon Crab, who performed fiendish acts in a Mephistophelian display. I also remember that time Jagex added a sick-ass rainbow flower crown into the game, which, of course, caused all of the high school students to start rioting in Falador. So that was litty. Move, I'm fucking gay. But above all else, what I remember most is meeting a majestic man in robes and blue hair, who instinctively my friend and I called Tumblr Jesus. And for whatever reason, for hours at a time, he just played along with the bit. Here's a clip of that.
I mean, I'm halfway there. Who's this guy next to us? Blue-haired Jesus.
Tumblr Jesus. He's Tumblr Jesus. Oh my god, he just gave me a whole shit ton of wine. I mean...
Too holy 5 you. Like this guy.
Praise me unto you, holy Tumblr Jesus.
Hey,
Oh my
Tumblr
God.
Jesus. Can you
Tumblr
forgive
Jesus.
my sins or whatever? And make
We
gender
are-
never be binary. Tumblr Jesus.
I can't believe we found Tumblr Jesus. I'm gonna friend him. This guy's great. Yeah, this guy's attacking Tumblr Jesus.
No!
Yeah, I'm just...
Bless your biscuits, my child.
Biscuits, my child.
Biscuits, oh.
When do I die? Tumblr Jesus. What the fucking goddamn it.
When do I die? Yeah.
Oh god.
You die when you stop living, yo.
He almost my entire inventory left.
Tumblr Jesus, dude.
Not to mention, did you know that every update and new addition is polled to the players? Yeah, that's right. This game isn't a totalitarian oppressive monarchy like everything else in this godforsaken genre. It's an actual democracy where you, like, vote, and the mod team and developers are extremely social and accessible through Twitter and other social media platforms, which makes the fact that Jagex support sucking ass through a curly straw that much more inexcusable. But I digress. The community is astonishing, just goofballs and losers, and addictive personality traits filling every server everywhere, and the chaos and absolute unpredictability of this world is beyond anything I've ever witnessed in a video game social ecosystem. The RP servers are the best. Trust me, they're so fucking gay, kind of like Jon Snow. But in short, the best thing about RuneScape is that if you don't already have nostalgia regarding the game, due to how it's fundamentally designed, if you play it and really play it, you will have all of these bragging rights and wicked goals you have accomplished, and the journey in and of itself, and all the people and places you saw in your unique and one-of-a-kind adventure that only you've had will give you nostalgia. And believe me, that just adds to the attractiveness of this low-poly wonderland. The concept of being a nobody with nothing in an overwhelmingly large world full of an overwhelmingly large amount of media and stuff to do can be intimidating, but the knowledge that you can become the most impressive and powerful player in existence in any way you want, so long as you apply yourself and dedicate as much as you can in any way you please, is liberating and unbelievably fucking gay. RuneScape is a game where you write the story, where you are the main character, where you are the hero, the villain, and sometimes
Johnny Sins. When I'm on OSRS, I'm in PVM zone, and you should be too. Let's bend over some bosses and do what I do best.
A game that is simple enough to become as complex as you want it. A game where no two players share the same story. A game that paved the way for a lot of systems we have in other games today. A game that goes above and beyond, and to this day, decades later, still sits at the top of so many metrics. It's also really fucking boring, but I digress. I'll say it once more because I loved how I worded it, so much that I feel it's a good note to end on. RuneScape is not a blank canvas. It's a coloring book for you to fill in with whatever you please. However you please, and there's no one telling you to stay in the lines. And that's why, without a doubt, it is and always will be my favorite video game. It's also pretty fucking gay. All it costs is $11 a month to play, by the way. But that's a lot. But you wanna know what isn't a lot? $3 a month on patreon.com/notcozy. So you should go subscribe to my Patreon right now, cause I make so many tight videos that'll make you cream your pants, and so you should go do that, like right fucking now. And if that's not up your alley, you should subscribe to me on YouTube and like the video and comment something down below, like, I don't know, who's the most attractive RuneScape NPC? In my opinion, it's either Sandwich Lady or the Wise Old Man, but I just can't pick. I don't know, boost me in the algorithm. Well, with that out of the way, I suppose that means farewell. Until next time, my noteworthy comrade. And remember, somewhere out there, in this wide, vast world, somebody pronounces it run, escape. To this day, and no one has corrected them, and no one will. A moment of silence for that poor soul. Well, thanks for watching, bye!